Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Melissa. I'm a registered dietitian, and here on my channel we talk about all things food and nutrition amongst many other topics. Today we are talking about food and nutrition though. We are talking about a book that I read recently that I am going to give a little review of. So I'm trying to do this thing this year where I read a book every month, but every other book I read I am going to make a non-fiction book, and I've tried to do mostly like nutrition books. So last month I read a book called The Secret Life of Fat by Sylvia Tara, and before that I read Health at Every Size, and I did do a video on Health at Every Size. If you want to see it, it'll be somewhere up here. So yeah, I thought I would kind of give you a little review of this book as well, if you were thinking about reading it, or if you did read it and you don't really know what to think. Just give you kind of my perspective on it. So yeah, let's jump into it. So like I said, the book is called The Secret Life of Fat, and it is all about fat as an organ and the science of fat, and ultimately how to lose fat, but we will get to that at the end. Like I said, it's by someone named Sylvia Tara. She has a PhD in biochemistry, so she's a very reliable source of science, I guess. Basically, she did her dissertation, I guess, her like graduate PhD research on fat, and she did it because she had kind of struggled with fat all of her life, and she found that, you know, her friends could go out to eat and she would go out to eat with them and they would be totally fine, and she would gain 2 pounds just from that meal. And she just kind of started to wonder why she and also other people hold on to fat more, gain fat more easily, whereas other people don't. So that's basically where the idea for this book and for her research came from. So the book starts out with kind of the science of fat. So she kind of talks about what fat does for us, how it's not just kind of like sitting there just on your body doing nothing. You know, fat produces hormones. We need fat to digest certain vitamins and minerals. It fights inflammation, and we do therefore need fat. And in these kind of chapters, she does talk about how we should appreciate our fat for what it does for us, and we should love our fat and just kind of understand why it's there and why we need it, which I think is great. And I thought it was really interesting to learn about all the functions of fat in more detail. She also talks about the different kinds of fat, white versus brown fat, and how brown fat helps burn energy, how we can maybe try to convert more of our white fat to brown fat. Obviously, I'm not going to go into all the scientific details. If you would like to read that sort of thing, I do think it's very interesting. She also goes into a little bit about how fat multiplies, how, you know, if you have fat, it's easier to get more fat, and basically all of the science around fat, basically. I found this part of the book very interesting. I loved learning about it. Again, it's really cool to learn about it in more detail, and, you know, the mechanisms in which fat multiplies or which fat burns. And yeah, especially for like dietitians, I definitely think that it was a really interesting thing to read. The next portion of the book was more about why some people have more fat than others, and it went into more detail than just food. There wasn't really anything about you have more fat because you eat more. It was kind of other reasons. So there was a chapter about all these crazy like bacteria and viruses that cause you to gain more fat, which was really interesting. I had never heard of any of the like viruses and diseases that she talked about, so those were really interesting to learn about. She also talked about, you know, as women, why we have more fat and why we need more fat. You know, we do need fat to be fertile, to carry children, and our body knows that, so we do tend to hang on to more fat than men do. So she kind of goes into more detail about that. And then she also talks a little bit about genes and how genes kind of factor into how much fat you have. Again, I thought this part of the book was very interesting, And like I said, she is a PhD in biochemistry. This was what her research was on. And to me, it is a very reliable source of information. I felt pretty comfortable taking that information from her. You know, it's not just someone who tried a diet and then decided to write a book about the science of fat. So it really goes into very deep detail about the science of fat and all these things. For me, the issue arises in the last portion of the book, which was basically about how to lose fat. Now, I figured that there would be a portion of the book about how to lose fat, but I didn't expect what I read. You know, just because she does talk about loving your fat and appreciating your fat, I kind of expected more of a balanced view of how to lose fat, and instead it was basically a chapter of talking about how she made herself miserable to lose fat. And I'm not exaggerating, it was pretty much a whole chapter of, well, I limited myself to 1,200 calories and worked out 6 days a week, and that was working for a little while, but then it stopped working, so I went down to 1,000 calories and worked out every day for this amount of time. And even though I was tired, I still worked out. And then I started intermittent fasting and only eating 1,000 calories. And then my 16-hour fast turned into an 18-hour fast. And then I couldn't eat anything on my birthday because I was fasting, and like all this crazy stuff. And it ended with like, look, even if you have to make yourself miserable, you can lose fat. I am proof. And it really just, I am so disappointed. I really truly did enjoy the beginning of the book, and the ending, yeah, Brody agrees with me. The ending 100% ruined the book for me. It was just really kind of sad to read. And, you know, as a dietitian or a healthcare professional, I would never recommend the things that she did to lose fat. And it was really kind of shocking, because she did talk about why you should love your fat, to hear her say she just was miserable for months and months to get rid of the fat. And that it did boil down to she just wanted to be skinny. And yeah, it was just really unfortunate. The end was really unfortunate. So yeah, I think this was kind of a quick review, but all in all, I honestly, because of the ending, probably wouldn't recommend this book. 100% if you are recovering from an eating disorder, have any disordered eating tendencies, do not read this book. Stay away from this book, because I mean, the ending is honestly just really incredibly triggering if you ever have had any type of disordered eating. For dietitians, I mean, like I said, it was interesting to read about that beginning part. I guess if you are able to separate the two and just, you know, kind of read that first section and learn more about fat, yes, it was an interesting read. But like I said, the end really truly ruined the book for me. So, yeah, I hope this was a good review. I've never really done a book review before. If you like this kind of video, like book reviews, then give this video a thumbs up. Sorry, my dogs are playing. I mean, what else did we expect to happen, right? Yes, I know. I'm almost done. Like I said, every other book I read is going to be a nonfiction book. So if you have any other books, like nutrition books, that you think I should read, then let me know. I think my next one is going to be intuitive eating. But after that, I'm not sure. So please let me know if you have any book ideas that you think I should read. And yeah, I think that's it. Like I said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already. I post a new video every week. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.